Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Alt Kings podcast. I'm your host, Tate, and today I have the pleasure of speaking with HashFarms and David Lane himself. How you doing today, David?
I'm good, Tate. How are you?
Doing very good. Today is the beginning of a new era and the end to a previously known one, known as the Alt Kings. This is the very last episode of the Alt Kings podcast, episode 150, and I'd love to end it off on a great note as you've been around pretty much since the inception of this show. And
Yeah, I remember
yeah,
it's two guys in a desk.
yeah, two
I
guys, a
remember.
small desk, and we continue to expand upon that. And now here we are, just me, a lone trooper, still pushing it.
Yeah, congrats, man. It's a
Thanks.
well-deserved success.
Thanks, David. And we're still progressing. I'm not stopping anytime soon, and I know you are feeling the same way about hash farms. And so let's dive in. What
Yeah,
inspired you to create Hash Farms as a postmodern investment bank focused on Hedera Hashgraph?
yeah. So it sounds really fancy,
It
but it's
does.
not. By way of background, I work in traditional finance. I work for a Japanese asset manager. We manage pension money, and my responsibilities are just investing pension money in alternatives. That includes hedge funds, private equity, infrastructure, venture capital. COVID hit. My two neighbors and I, they work in traditional finance as well. We started what was called the PARI Fund. It's just an aggregation of our kids' initials, split it evenly between crypto and traditional finance. I managed the crypto side. We looked at the different ecosystems. We felt it was good to go all in on one. We just didn't really have the bandwidth to monitor multiple ones. And it was like a hobby project. So we went in Hedera. We took a large allocation. I want to say this was September, October, maybe November, somewhere 21. Um, and we immediately recognized we loved the space. The NFT scene was kind of up and coming back then. You had like Zeus and stuff. What we liked was there was an infrastructure being built, a foundational infrastructure. We liked the technology a lot. And we liked Hashpack the most. It worked and it worked well. And they had a responsive team that, replied to any issues. So shout out to May and Mark and the rest of the team at Hashpack. But we're like, if there's founders building this bootstrapped, there's got to be something to it. So we invested in Hedera. About 3 or 4 months into it, we started a hobby project within Hedera called the Hashgraph Fund. And the idea was initially to create like an ETF of NFTs, just go out and support every NFT. And then by way of like a rudimentary calculation, we'd go off what the half the floor price of Zeus and, just create a token. So you had like fractional ownership of everything in the ecosystem. It was a lot easier back then. There was like 10 projects. After the show, I'll send you, I have an old infographic of the ecosystem and
I'll
it's
pop it
literally, it's
up.
like, do you know what I'm talking about? It's like green. It's got like 16 old
Yeah.
projects. Now it's like massive. But anyways, we started the Hashgraph Fund. We have a couple of Hedera enthusiasts in it. They range all across the world. They're global. I got about 17 guys within it. About 3 or 4 months into kind of investing in projects, we noticed that there was a lot of talent within the artistic side of the NFT scene. There was an immaturity. I don't mean that in a bad way, but just a lot of these projects didn't have business plans beyond a mint. So I started Hash Farms. Through my experience with venture capital, we've worked with a lot of startups. My firm also runs an accelerator in Tokyo. It's focused on health tech, but the idea of like new business creation is kind of similar. So we started Hash Farms, and basically what it is, it's a free advisory. You can come to us. We can help you with anything from business development, marketing, legal, tax, everything except coding. No one's really a coder within the group, and there's better devs out there. And our hope is to get you from proof. Our only stipulation is that you build on Hedera. Outside of that, everything's free of charge. There's no. What I'm trying to think of the word. We're not expecting anything. There's no hidden agenda. At the end of the day, we own HBAR. We want it to go up in price. The only way that's going to happen is if people actually use the network, right? And the
Yeah.
people are only going to use the network if there's successful DApps. So the idea with Hash Farms is to get you from proof of concept to a point of revenue generation. Can't promise you're going to be in the black, but we want to get you actually to generate revenue. Now, if you're an art project and you're just selling art, that is what it is. That's you and your community development. But if you're selling something tangible that has a utility to it, we want to make sure that utility generates revenue, and that's how that will generate value for your project. Ultimately, too, if you're generating revenue, it means people are using your product, which means people are using the network, which is what we ultimately want. So HashFarms started probably summer of 22. Been around 2 years. Generated a good profit. Nothing too crazy, but generated a profit nonetheless. We do try to support up and coming projects that we like through the Hashgraph Fund, which is kind of the treasury of HashFarms. Most recently, we've participated in the Bonzo NFT sale, like Brady and the team there.
Yeah.
We supported H Liquidity prior to that. Centex, Patty and Sam, Patricia and Sam have done wonders over there. You want to talk about like a truly bootstrap project? Look at them, look at Hashpack. Like the founders are kind of what's keeping us in the ecosystem. I know there's all this FUD about the THF and everything, but at the end of the day, there's still a huge community of people building on the network, and that's what we try to focus on.
Definitely. That's incredible. And what I love the most is how you said it. It's all free services, completely
Yeah,
free to anybody building on Hedera Hashgraph's network. And yeah, it
no,
comes down to what was that?
yeah. I mean, if not for, I'll be honest. Like, if we buy a couple of your NFTs and they triple in value, we're going to remove our risk so we can
Yeah,
deploy that capital again down the road. But
makes sense.
outside of that, yeah, we want you to succeed. We want to hold something in our treasury, and then 4 years down the road, like all of a sudden, like it's a masterpiece. I don't know. We want to help you out. Like, a lot of us are in our 40s and 50s. We're at the stage in our life where we can't really take risks. I warned you, I've got 2 kids floating around with summer
Yeah,
vacation that can at any time. Like, can't really drop everything to go start a startup, but I can definitely help people. Show them the pitfalls that we've seen along the way, help them avoid it.
nice. David, you've answered a lot of the questions at the gate already. I'm curious to know now, what are some of the criteria you use for making capital allocations to other projects building on Hedera, specifically for like the Hashgraph Fund?
Well, one, it's founder driven, so we got to meet with you. We're not going to
Okay.
cut a
So
blind check.
interviews first, and
Yeah,
then
we like
based
to have
off of how
we try to
you
have a call, hold a
yeah,
Zoom. We look at your product. Like, is it solving a friction point, or are you just reverse engineering something someone else has done? But I'm going to tell you, like, do you have a business model? Is there a plan for revenue generation? It's things like that. But at the end of the day, a lot of the seed stage stuff, man, it's on the founder, man. It's really like, do you believe, like, is this? Oh, one thing we really do like is people who have their own skin in the game. So
yeah,
one question we always ask is, like, how much of your own money have you invested? And if you have not invested any of your own money, that's a follow up question: is why should we invest our money? But outside of that, it's a lot of it's just founder driven. If you have a prior track record, all the better. But for a lot of people, this is their first go, and that's where we can help you. These allocations, these are not sizable. This is nothing
makes
that's going
sense.
to move the needle. If anything, pun intended, it's a token investment. But for some people, it's an extra month with a dev. I don't know. It's we try to invest more sweat equity,
Yeah,
help you out. Because at the end of the day, if we can help you avoid a legal fee, that's a couple $100 right there, a couple thousand depending how much you use. If we can help you get solve some friction points within your process that save you some money there, makes things quicker. Who knows? We try to add value. Capital. We can always cut you a check, but we also don't want to have to be responsible for how you spend that check.
very true. Makes
Uh,
sense.
so there's a trust. So we try to build relationships with the founders. A lot of the projects we've worked with, or you'll see on our Twitter account, I've had the privilege of speaking with for over a year or two, and we've really gotten to know them, and I've gotten to see where their challenges are. And some people move on too. Part of being a founder is exiting your company and moving on to the next thing, and
Yeah,
we want that for you as well. So we try to get to know the founders and see if there's skin in the game, and just really, it's a lot of gut feel. And I'll be honest with you, we've had some bad gut feels, and we've had some good ones. And it's just a process. You learn from the past.
most definitely. And you learn from your mistakes as well. I think it's great that you're investing into the people and you're learning about who they are individually before even considering investing capital wise. It's nice to see that because you're a guy, like you've mentioned, you've been in this space for over 2 years. You kind of have a really good idea of what's good compared to what's bad product wise. And you're able to also assist when it comes to people maybe needing extra connections. Say if somebody's looking for a developer or whatnot, or somebody for legal advice, or pretty much anything anything and everything. It seems like you can really provide some sort of guidance in some way, shape, or form. Is that right? Would you say,
Yeah.
David?
For the record,
Yeah.
if you're a developer on Hedera and you're looking for work, just send us a DM. We
Nice.
have projects ask us all the time for developers. Yeah, exactly. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut in there. Can you repeat the question?
Oh, there's no question there. It was more or less complimenting you and highlighting everything that you have to offer. I'd love to now ask, simply speaking, can you tell me about Hash Seeds and its role in supporting pre-seed and seed stage startups?
Yeah, so we thought about doing a true venture fund, right? Like raising about $100,000. It was our opinion that you could, for lack of a better word, do some damage with about 100K and just maybe cut 525K checks across and 520K checks, excuse me, and see what you could go all in, really give someone a little bit of a foundation to really grow. I mean, I know projects need more money than 20K, but it was
Yeah.
kind of an idea to give retail an option into like real venture investing, like coming in at the SAFT level, not trying to sweat out whitelists on INOs. I wanted to structure it like a true venture fund. However, the size, 100K, legally cost a ton of money. We were already making good stuff with that. The Hashgraph fund it's not like a true fund. It's more of an investment club. There's no like promise of return or anything. I mean, we want to, but
Yeah.
to legally structure like a true venture fund, the legal costs outweighed it. And at the end of the day, too, I have a primary form of employment. So HashFarms is, I mean, it's a hobby that I really enjoy, but it's also,
Yeah.
it's not my full-time job.
Makes sense.
So
Very
yeah, hopefully, ideally, hash seeds. We'd love to get it off the ground at some point, but I don't think hash seeds would ever come about until we've finalized everything with what's going on with HashFarms and the Hashgraph Fund. Like the members, at the end of the day, there's people we've been doing this project for 17 years. They would need to be taken care of first before we go on to anything else. Now, let me put it this
makes
way: if
sense.
hash seeds happens, that's a good thing. That means there's enough institutional interest in the space to really deploy capital.
Yeah. Let's talk about deploying capital. What are some of the projects you've already deployed capital to in the past? I know you've
So
mentioned a couple. I'd love to see maybe highlight some of the projects who've worked out compared to the ones who haven't.
Okay, so we are what you would call picks and shovels investors. We look for infrastructure pieces, for lack of a better word. They don't have to be sexy. So we like marketplaces, anything with financial rails. So in the past here, hold on one sec. I've got like a thing up. Give me one sec. We've supported Atlantis, Centex, supported Zeus, Bonzo Finance, Dragma Labs, Earthlings. We supported an old marketplace called Hash Guild. They're technically still around.
Yeah.
Hashpack, we did everything we could with their INO. Kabila, we like the guys over there. We supported Lethos. There's a music marketplace called Mint. We supported them. Saucer Swap, NFTier, H Liquidity, Turtle Moon, Probable.io, although they really haven't issued anything. We just support them. VCZ, HGraph Punks. I mean, the list goes on. There's a lot of them. If you
Yeah.
want me to go there, there's tons of rugs too, like Lehman Swap. We supported. As far as art goes, supported Mark Francis Williams,
Nice.
Held, Cowl Labs, Cyber Yeti, IX Mortals, Imaginarium Studios,
You know what all
Hugh.
that sounds like, David?
Oh, sorry, I'll
Sounds
stop.
it's no, no,
Zero.
it sounds like it simply speaking sounds like you've supported more projects than the HBAR Foundation will ever support retail wise.
Yeah, I don't know. They have a lot more
It's a
capital to
bold
support.
statement, but it says it proof is within the work. And they have
Um,
you're right, they have a lot more to deal with, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, with regards to the HBAR Foundation, like people need to drop it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you got to remember, like just because they didn't give you capital, if you go on Twitter and you throw like a tantrum, other people are going to see that and they're not going to give you capital. It's free money from the HBAR Foundation, right? So, I mean, I'm not saying like I don't run it, and at the end of the day, like good for Shane. Like if he's clipping 140K a month, like
Sheesh.
Eh, good for him. I mean, it's someone's got to do it, I guess. But like at the end of the day, there's a lot of people there. We've had good experiences with them. We was speaking with a woman named Grace Fluger. She's been nothing but supportive and helpful. And there's a lot of people at the HBAR Foundation who are getting a lot of shit, pardon my language, and they're actually trying to help the ecosystem actively. And they're in there and they're underpaid and they're working very hard. I don't think it's I think the HBAR Foundation just needs to reevaluate their model a little bit. I think if
Definitely.
they incentivize people for long-term success instead of, I would offer competitive salaries, and then with the projects you work with, take a little equity up front and then some optionality down the road, and incentivize everyone for long-term growth and success. But at the end of the day, too, like, this is free money. Like, they don't have to give it to you. If you have a product worth its weight, like, I would imagine they're inclined to. I would imagine they're inclined to support you, but I can't speak for them.
Of course.
So we try to help people. Again, like, they can't help everyone, right? There's also the Hashgraph Association, and if your
Of
project's
course.
really good, you can hit the capital markets. You can try some of the crypto-focused venture capitals. So yeah, it's just a matter of they're not the only resource in town, and we've come this far with if nothing had happened, right? Like, if no one had found this out, would the tech have changed or anything like that? It's still, it's still Hedera, right? It's still a
Yeah, of
great
course.
community. So I don't know. We try to keep a glass half full. I've been in crypto since 2016. I bought Bitcoin off like Kraken and Coinbase way back when.
Sure.
When I used to have to ether scan like 50,000 times. You're like, oh, I lost my ether. Bitcoin would take like 2 days. It was great. It was nuts. So like, we've been through a couple bear cycles. It's, we believe in the tech. It's going to take time. So just, we're along for the ride. And if we can help people, great.
Definitely. My biggest issue with the foundation is, simply speaking, the lack of transparency. That's the only thing. The easiest way for me to simplify it when it comes to everything, because in the broader aspect, they are lacking transparency in a couple
No, I agree with you.
different sectors of their business model, and it's unfortunate to see. But yeah, a lot of people do need to stop whining. I just like chirping in occasionally on X because
I'm not calling it.
it's good to
Everyone's
voice
entitled
your
to their.
opinion at the end of the day.
I get it. I'm 43. I'm a little bit older than a lot of people in the space. I started on Wall Street in 2004. It's a your reputation goes a long way, and
Yeah,
like, social media doesn't go away. So like, if you're known for throwing like tantrums and name calling people, if you're name calling someone for making too much money, like, it just sounds jealous.
no, you're right.
I do agree with you. If you apply to the HBAR Foundation, you take time. Like, there is a professional courtesy of just replying to someone and saying, "Hey, we're not interested." I mean, if I could go
Goes a
back in
long way.
2002 when senior Dave at Penn State was getting rejected left and right for jobs, like, at least I got enough letters to get a free drink at the bar. Like, but it's a professional courtesy, right? So yeah, there's two sides to it. But at the end of the day, like, it's their money, man. It's they can do what they want. Like,
Right.
it's not yours to sway. Like, I don't see anyone. There's plenty of other like nonprofits out there that have exorbitant salaries, and no one's screaming at them. I don't know. I think
You're
people need
right.
to
You're
grow up a
right.
little. Just
Completely. I see your
not
point, and it makes sense. It's not our
yeah.
money to complain about, it's theirs, so they can do what they want with it because Hedera's given it to them
Yeah.
personally.
The other thing too is, it's not like they cut you a blind check.
Yeah,
They're like, hey, here's your money, go. Like, a lot of this is milestone driven. It's my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, that when you are under the grant process, you aren't allowed to take outside capital from there. So that deters other investors.
true.
Yeah, like, it's not all rainbows on that side too. Everything comes with pros and cons. I don't think people have fully weighed those before attacking them. But look, hey, the people have spoken. They've made their point. I think nowhere to go but up. So
What are your thoughts on the current state of the Hedera NFT scene, as well as HTS scene when it comes to, NFTs and tokens on Hedera? What are
it's
your
cool.
thoughts?
It's growing. It's
Yeah,
how. Yeah. Like, I mean, it, I'm trying to think of a great way to say it. Like, it's the NFTs have taken a different dynamic now. I'm seeing a lot more NFTs, burnt for token allocations. If you look at it, INOs, seeing that three-letter acronym pop up a lot more
me
now
too.
than I did in the past. Um, it's interesting to see people add utility to it. I do think there's a separation between utility NFTs that have a source of revenue behind it and then art. I would really like to. I'm excited to see what's going to happen with music NFTs. let's just go through the whole. There's like all three Brandons, Brandon Davenport, Brandon, like all the Brandons have supported it.
Yeah.
We have the CZ NFT. I'm gonna respect his. I don't even know his real name, but like I think what he's doing is awesome. I mean, he's really pushing this stuff for.
Yeah.
I think
There's
the a new
patches
creative.
as well.
Um, who else? Within art, there's a guy who's real involved with Hgraph Punk's his name's the HBAR Gremlin. You might have seen his Twitter
Oh
account.
yeah.
He's got a really good take on the art scene, and it'll be interesting to see what comes out with Hgraph. I know he's not part of Hgraph Punks, but he's got a really good opinion on things, and he's always seemed pretty positive about the space. I'm looking forward to see. It's going to evolve. I think music NFTs will be on the front. I don't think gaming is going to go away. Everyone loves like an illegal online casino. But like that drives clicks, right? That drives traffic. I think I think music will be the next thing. One thing I do really like though, I love like I don't think people truly appreciate like with H Liquidity and with Bonzo Finance, and then there's another one coming out, Serio. Like the idea you can get these flash loans at really good interest rates, like
Yeah.
it's kind of cool, and you can kind of do it like just from your hash pack. Like I don't know, it's a lot of fun. Like if I wanted to, I can do a carry trade where I can borrow one stable coin for X amount and then loan it at another. And I mean, you deal with the FX rate, but like it's these little things that aren't, for lack of a better word, sexy, but they're foundational, and I'm excited to see how they grow. The financial rails on Hedera, I'm really excited for. H Liquidity is like it's such like just a basic thing, but like you have so many like I can get Swiss stable coin, and then I can provide liquidity between that and US dollar stable. It's fascinating to me. I think you're gonna see like a digital FX market come, but it takes time. Like everyone in crypto is so it needs to happen yesterday. But if you look at like a true traditional venture capital fund, they're 5 years in term, and then usually they have they allow for 1 or 2 year extension. So it takes a couple of years for these things to grow. So people just need to be patient.
It's very expensive, and you're right. Things do take time. It's cool to see those ones that you mentioned, like H Liquidity, Serio, and Bonzo Finance, all releasing their products roughly at the same time. It only helps provide more liquidity to the market, and bring more capital into HTS tokens, into HBAR NFTs and whatnot. Just got to make sure you pay back those loans.
Yeah. Yeah. Another fun one, which gets underappreciated is HBAR Suite.
Oh,
So like
most
everyone thinks it's
definitely.
like the H Suite token, but like there's an underlying technology to it, like, with the smart nodes and
Yeah.
everything. And I mean, so that's the type of like, I don't know. I think people they just like saying smart nodes. But if you actually try to like dig into it, it's above my head. I tried, but it's just that's like the technology that it can be built on this stuff, and it's just fascinating to see. And this is what I mean by developers. Like I know Solana's a lot of fun right now, buying every obscenely named meme coin possible and riding it for a 10x. But that just brings tourists. What the developers here are building on Hedera, I've noticed, it's going to bring residents. It's going to be people who are going to stay more long term. I don't have the bandwidth for meme coins anymore. I'd love to
Oh,
try
neither
to.
do I. I'm
Yeah.
younger than you, and I don't have the bandwidth for it. I just see it as way too much
Oh,
fun and
that's
games, not enough seriousness, and
oh,
we need
I'm
more
sorry.
seriousness in this
Yeah.
space.
One of my neighbors is real into it. He did when Uniswap V1 came out, like he would be up all night riding these just, for lack of a better word, shit coins. And he'd be like, "Oh, Dave, I made 10 grand last night. Oh, Dave, I lost 15 grand last night." It was great.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
yeah,
I
that
can
was
feel it.
COVID for you. Yeah, no, it's I like, you either believe in the tech or you don't. I will say, like, this I'm going down with the ship. It's a lot of
Me
fun.
too.
I've enjoyed working with the founders, and I don't see the ship going down anytime soon. We're really looking forward to what's going to happen this summer. And as a guy who's been background as traditional finance, like I see a 5 or 6% return, and I'm like in euphoria. There's a lot of ways in this in Hedera right now to get. I don't want to say risk free, but I mean you can clip 10% and then just go on Investopedia and type in compound interest and see what happens on 10%. It adds up pretty quickly. I mean,
Yep.
Yeah, and there's a lot of ways to make money. You don't have to grind out flipping NFTs for 10%, like slamming the insta sell on Centex, or trying to out it's which I think is great. That's the other thing too, is like, look at the marketplaces, like look at what you can do on Sentient. It's so cool. Like,
Yeah.
you can list multiple NFTs. They've got the staking, they've got the treasury, like you can get rewards in multiple currencies. And they did it as just two people, like who,
It's
I don't
incredible.
know. I know they've applied for funding, but that's like a bootstrap thing. Imagine what they could do with like some real capital.
Definitely.
That goes for a
And
lot.
I
I mean,
love how you called it
I'm not
sentient.
trying to like leave out any projects. There's so many that we've spoken with. Like, I've enjoyed. I have not had a bad experience working with projects. I've had people call me and I've told them their business plan isn't going to make money because it doesn't have it, and they've told me I'm an idiot, and I'm fine with that. You can always come back, and I'm here to help. But it's just been great. You meet so many like eccentric characters, including myself. How many 43-year-old dads in Connecticut are there that run a HashFarms, right? Like, it's the
Not
one
many.
thing I'm really used to is calling people by their Discord or Telegram names. It's like real hard being like, "Hey, Donkey 505." Like, what yeah.
That's what it's like with the ruler and I. Whenever we're in public, like whenever we meet up, when I go down to Orlando to visit family, I'm always like, his real name's Milan, but I'm so tempted just to call him the ruler because
Or
it's just ingrained in my head.
yeah, no,
But
that's like, if I ever see like Stealthy Ninja, that's a fun name.
healthy, yeah, or Ray
Yeah,
Ray,
that's like, there's just so many. Yeah, it's fun.
definitely.
Yeah, no, any other. I'm happy to answer any other questions.
Yeah, my last question for you, David. Thank you for taking the time. But what does
Yeah,
the
no worries.
future look like for Hash Farms? My simple and short answer for that would be just continuing to do what you do. More or less giving back to the community with free services, advice, and anything and everything that community members might need, and more or less reciprocate value from. Is that what it looks like, or is there something different?
So with regards to hash farms, no plans to change anything anytime
Makes
soon.
sense.
With regards to our portfolio for the Hashgraph Fund, we have moved a lot of it into kind of like passive, like kind of projects yielding revenue.
Sure.
We've also supported some more projects long term. So we've deployed some capital over the spring and the summer. I think we're paused for a little bit until we have a couple projects we're looking at. But with regards to that, what do they say? Sell and go away in May, sell in May, go away. We haven't done any of that. We haven't really sold anything. But we picked up projects that we feel are at a discount, where we've met the founder. Any project we've owned, we've met the founder.
Sure.
And there is a confidence level with them. And, that's about as much as you can de-risk an investment at such a seed stage. But again, we don't over deploy on anything. We're very conservative, and a lot of our investment, really is sweat equity. And we look forward to continuing to do that. So if you're building on Hashgraph, feel free to ping me. You can ping me anytime on Discord. I try to be as responsive as possible. And yeah, if you have if people have questions, just ask. A lot of times too, if we don't know the answer, it's kind of fun to learn it.
Definitely. And you learn something new if you don't already know it.
Yeah.
David Lane, thank you once again for your time. All of Hash Farms links will be linked down below. And ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed today's content, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And we will see you all in the next episode.
Take it on
Peace.
chain. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Ready to transform your learning experience? Step into the future with the Learn to Earn platform on Hedera. Choose how you learn. Academic books in hard copy or NFT form. That's right, NFTs. Whether you prefer the traditional feel or a digital interactive journey, the choice is yours. Dive into the NFT, not just for the book, but for all the tools you need for success. Download the book, access tests, all within a seamless, immersive interface. Forget traditional logins. Simply scan the QR code, connect to our platform, and start your Learn to Earn journey. Pass your tests and watch your success turn into real rewards with Gcoin, our exclusive digital currency. Imagine learning at your own pace, acing exams, and reaping tangible benefits. It's not just education, it's a transformative journey towards success. Join the future of learning at gilmore-estates.net. Scan, learn, earn. It's that simple, and it's revolutionary.